أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله وإن تبتم فلكم رؤوس أموالكم لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. I welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May peace, mercy and blessings of Almighty Allah be on all of you. The topic of today's talk, as mentioned by the chairman, is interest-free economy promulgated by the Quran. The word riba is mentioned in the Quran no less than 8 times. It's mentioned in Surah Rum, chapter number 30, verse number 39. It's mentioned in Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 161. It's mentioned in Surah Al-Imran, chapter number 3, verse number 130. It's mentioned thrice in the verse of Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 275, and in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 276, and in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 278. The word riba is mentioned in the Quran no less than 8 different times. The first time the word riba was revealed in the Quran was in Surah Rum, chapter number 30, verse number 39. It says that those who devour usury will have no increase with Allah, but those who give out in deeds of charity, seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will have increase, and they will have a recompense multiplied. The word riba, the Arabic word riba, means an addition to or an increase over and above the original amount or the original size. In the Quran, it refers to as unlawful addition, and it means usury as well as interest. The first time the Quran mentions in the chronological order regarding riba, it does not say that it is prohibited. It only says, as I mentioned, in Surah Rum, chapter number 30, verse number 39, that those who give out in usury will have no increase with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but those who give out in deeds of charity will have increase, and they shall have a recompense multiplied. Regarding riba, it is somewhat similar to what the Quran says about intoxicants. The prohibition of intoxicants was revealed in stages. The first time the Quran speaks about intoxicants is in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 219, and it says that when they ask thee concerning intoxicants and gambling, tell them, in it is some profit but great sin. The sin is greater than the profit. The first time the Quran reveals regarding intoxicants, it only said that in it is great sin and some profit. The sin is greater than profit. It did not prohibit us from consuming intoxicants. Later on, the second verse of the Quran to be revealed regarding intoxicants was of Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 43, which says that approach not your prayers with a mind befogged. Approach not your prayers when you're intoxicated. Finally, later on it was revealed regarding the prohibition of intoxicants in Surah Maida, chapter number 5, verse number 90, which says Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O you who believe, innamal khamru wal maisiru, most certainly intoxicants and gambling, wal anzab wal aslamu, dedication of stones, divination of arrows, rujtum min ali shaitan, these are Satan's handiwork. These are abominations of Satan's handiwork. Fashtanibul lalakum tuflihun. Abstain from such handiwork that you may prosper. After this verse was revealed, barrels of intoxicants were thrown on the streets of Medina, never to be filled again. So the prohibition of intoxicants came in stages, in the same fashion. The first time what riba was mentioned, it only said that you will have no increase with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The next was to be revealed regarding riba was from Surah Nisa, chapter number 4, verse number 161, which says that for the iniquities of the Jews, we made for them unlawful certain foods which were good and wholesome and which were lawful to them, because they hindered many from Allah's way, and they took usury which had been forbidden to them, which had been prohibited to them. So certain food which is mentioned in the Quran, that is meat of camel, of sheep, of goat, fat of the ox, of the hare, these particular things, the meat of the camel, the meat of the rabbit, and the meat of the hare, and the fat of the ox, the sheep, and the goat, though it was good and wholesome, had been prohibited to the Jews, because they hindered many from Allah's way, and they took riba, they took usury, they took interest, though it was prohibited to them. Later on, the Quran says in Surah Al-Imran, chapter number 3, verse number 130, which says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O you who believe, la taqulu riba, devour not usury, ad'afam muda'afatan, doubled and multiplied. O you who believe, devour not usury, doubled and multiplied, but fear Allah that you may really prosper. Here the Quran says that devour not usury, doubled and multiplied, but fear Allah that you may really prosper. But some of the Muslims may argue that the riba mentioned in the Quran only refers to usury, somewhat similar to what the money lenders, when they gave loan to people and they took an exorbitant amount. Quran prohibits usury, but Quran does not prohibit interest, which the modern day banks take. Let's analyze what's the meaning of usury and what's the meaning of interest. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the word interest means amount paid for the use of amount lent, money paid for the use of money lent. And usury, according to the Oxford Dictionary, means the act or practice of lending money at interest, especially at a very high rate. So in short, usury means exorbitant interest. But as I mentioned earlier, riba means an addition to or an increase above the original amount of size. It is unlawful addition, and here it refers to both usury as well as interest, irrespective whether the rate is small or big. Riba, whether it be interest or usury, it has been prohibited in the Quran. Some Muslims may further argue that interest is like trade. So what is the harm in involving yourself dealing with interest? The answer to this argument